Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat.
Cyrodiil? Are you okay?
Cyrodiil? Yes, Cyrodiil. Back then he still existed. Now he's gone. Now there's only Brother Wrath. He killed them all, you know. Lethal, Wilma, have all of them gone or dead. Because we couldn't enter the cold flesh. We screamed. We screamed as loud as we could. Because it hurt so bad. But then that would have made him angry. Because then he couldn't concentrate anymore. But what else should we have done? It just hurt so bad. No matter how much of the blue juice he gave us, it always hurt so bad.
Hey, you're talking about the father, aren't you?
Father. Yes, our father. We never saw his face, you know. She always wore this mask, this terrible, scary mask.
Hey, wake up! Do you remember what he did to you?
Yes, he wanted to make us happy. That's what she always said, that she wanted to make us happy. At first I believed him, but then they took Letho. Letho, they just came in and took him into the room. I heard him scream. Hours and hours, and then suddenly silence. Silence for eternity. But I shouldn't talk so much. Too much talking makes the father angry. Just let me sleep, will you? Just sleep. What are you doing here? What happened?
You don't remember?
Remember? What should I remember? I was dizzy, so I took a nap. Must have been the hunger. I didn't have a meal in 2 days.
That's not true. You had some kind of seizure.
Seizure? What do you mean?
Hard to describe. You had some kind of regression to your childhood. To your time when the father ran his experiments on you.
What? But why? What did I say?
A lot.
I see. I must have been this place. It brought back my memories.
You make it sound so ordinary.
What do you want to hear? I have no idea what that was. Same as you.
Huh. And now? You don't remember anything of the seizure?
No, I don't. But it doesn't matter. We should focus on the task at hand. What about the safe? Did you find anything?
Hey, why do you dismiss what happened? Maybe we can find some answers in that seizure.
Look, I just don't want to talk about it right now. Is that so hard to understand? Now tell me, what about the safe? The documents?
Okay. Yeah, I did. And you were right. Shagun did document her dealings.
Can you believe it? That's a list of all the children who were sold. Name, age, price. She sold us like cattle. I don't know whether to cry or laugh. But it doesn't say anything about what the father did to us. Did you find anything else?
No. Either Shagun had no idea what the father was doing to those children, or she took the answers into the grave with her.
Shit. Well, what did I expect? It was worth a try. Do you want to know something? Shagun... I didn't think she actually did it. When I first heard of her involvement in the matter, I always thought she was living proof that not everybody can be corrupted if you shove enough money up their ass. Seems I was wrong.
You mentioned a certain Letho during the seizure.
Did I? Tell me, what is it to you? Why do you care?
What we're planning is madness. It's only fair that I know the full story.
Makes sense. Fine. You gave me little reason to distrust you, so why the fuck not? If we're unlucky, neither of us will be alive anymore 2 days from now. Come. Let's find somewhere to sit. Sit. All right. Let's keep this brief. My family discarded me as a child, and no, I don't blame them. I was weak, frail, and always ill. It was unlikely that I would see 5 winters.
You don't blame them? What they did was cruel.
Ah, nonsense. Keeping me would have burdened the entire family. What they did wasn't cruel. It was necessary. Cruelty is something else. Cruelty is inflicting suffering when it's avoidable, or simply for pleasure. Sadist scum like Carlian, lust murderers or mad cult leaders who stop at nothing to get their way. Not even the corpses of children.
Do you remember anything about your family? Who they were?
I don't know. I've forgotten most of it.
Yet you're here.
I am. Thanks to Letho. It must have been 6 winters back then, whereas I was 4 or 5. I don't remember. He found me in the gutter and took me in. I'm not sure you realize what that means. Surviving alone is hard enough as it is for an urchin child. But taking care of someone else, it decreases your chances even more. Letho didn't care. He saw me, he let me sleep in a pile of hay he called his bed, and shared his bread with me. I still have no idea why he did it.
What was his story? Why was he on his own?
I don't know. He never wanted to talk about it. Not even later, in the orphanage.
Where did you live?
In the sewers. It's full of robbers and thieves and other scum nowadays, but back then, there were lots of secret corners and tunnels for a child to hide in. The good old days.
I'm guessing the refuge orphanage didn't exist back then.
It did, but there were a limited number of beds. New beds only became available if an orphan reached the age of 12 and was sent back onto the streets. Or, of course, if one died. What they had was a list. You could have them put your name on there, and every time a new bed became free, the orphans would be called into the alley, and the list was read out aloud from top to bottom. Strange feeling, as you could imagine. When Letho was 8, and I was about 7, we both got lucky and got a bed. We spent 5 years there, and 1 moon before the abduction by the Rhalâta, shortly before his 12th birthday, I swore to him that I'd come with him once they put him back on the streets. I don't know if you can understand this, but the thought that he'd be out there while I slept in my bunk bed, I just couldn't accept it.
What did Letho say about your idea?
What do you think? He called me an idiot, and rightly so, because I was still the frail little kid I had been when my parents abandoned me, and that ugly cough that I had would still come back every time winter returned. Still, had push come to shove, I would have followed him. Nothing and no one could have stopped me.
What was life in the orphanage like?
Peaceful. It sounds strange to say it after all that's happened, but if I'm being honest, the years in the refuge were the only truly peaceful time in my life. Of course, it wasn't a picnic. Food was scarce because the orphanage stayed afloat only through donations, and we had to work a lot. You know, clean, cook, tend to the garden. But still, we had a home. Or at least we thought we did.
According to the documents, Shagun had sold other children to the Rhalâta before she sold you and Letho. Did you notice anything?
Back then, I didn't, but in retrospect, I should have. For example, there were those twin sisters. One morning we woke up and they were gone. Shagun wouldn't say a word about it, but we thought it was because they'd died and she was in mourning. Now I know better.
And then the father took you.
Yes, me and Letho. I still remember that day as though it was yesterday. It had been an exhausting day and my cough had come back. Shagun put out the candles and we fell asleep. Then, all of a sudden, they were there, right in front of our beds. We screamed. We struggled. Tried to flee, but it didn't matter. Uncle Nalek was there to help the masked men to calm us. Shagun and the other adults, they just stood by and watched. Can you imagine? They just stood there and fucking watched. You know the rest of the story. They put sacks over our faces and threw us into a carriage, like cattle on their way to the slaughterhouse. Then, darkness. The next clear memory I have is awaking on a pile of bodies in the corpse pit.
And you never saw any of the other children again? Not even Letho?
No. Of course, I looked through that corpse pile as well as I could, but there was no one there. No one. It was real, you know? Letho and I were there for each other through it all, and he was my best friend, my brother, my family. Damn it, he was the only one I ever had. And now he's dead. His skeleton's probably rotting somewhere in the sewers, if the father's experiments left any of his body at all. I don't know if you can even remotely understand how much I hate this person. He is evil incarnate. It's that simple.
Did you ever look for Letho?
What do you think I am? An idiot? Of course I looked for him. For weeks, months, fucking years. But nobody had seen him or even knew who I was talking about. For them, he was just another dead orphan in the caves.
And you have had no one to back you up ever since?
Backup. I don't believe in backup anymore. Just look around, will you? This thing we call our world. What is it if you take away the glitter? A ring? A fucking arena? They all just care about their own ends, and they are willing to do anything to see them through. Lie, steal, murder. And now? Now they're talking about the red madness, as if things haven't always been the way they are now. Friendship is a privilege for the young and foolish. Letho always believed in the good in people. And look where it got him.
Letho being dead has nothing to do with his convictions.
It doesn't? Then fate has a bad sense of humor.
Yes, I could sing a song about that. Life punishes idealists.
Yeah. You know, being on my own, as you put it doesn't bother me. Not at all. I know how it must sound to you, but if you're alone, you're invincible. The worst anybody can do to you is kill you. And since death is the end of all feeling, it doesn't matter anymore. Friends, family, love, they leave you open, exposed. For me, things are simple. If the father kills me, I have failed. But at least there'll be no one to mourn my loss. No widow, no children, no friends. A clean cut, as though I never existed.
Fair point. Free and unbound? I mean, it's not what I want for myself, but I understand your point of view.
Either way, we've wasted enough time. As I said, it might be hours before the father decides, or if we're unlucky, weeks or months. I'll send out a messenger if I learn something, and should anything unusual happen, just meet me at my hideout. I'll be there for an hour every day before nightfall. Until then.
All right then. Then I'll wait.
Do that.
Saira, good to see you. I heard about what happened on Half Moon Island. It's a wonder you and that mercenary made it back alive. But war, it just seems so unreal. How has it come to this? Now we not only have to fight these High Ones, but also some fanatic who thinks he knows best?
Nothing better than an unnecessary war while poised at the brink of extinction, is there?
I know you mean that as a joke, but I'm afraid it's not too far from the truth. Tell me, Saira, how is it possible that our beliefs about what's best for mankind are so different? Why are we so eager to be at each other's throats?
That's just how we humans are, and I doubt it will change anytime soon.
I'm not sure. You know what I find so hard to understand? Why there are so few people who actually care. So few people who feel the need to change something like you and I do. There are moments I just feel so powerless. As if we all know that if we keep going like this, we're headed for a catastrophe. But instead of changing course, we just stand by and watch. Do you know the feeling?
Yeah, too well.
I thought so. Whenever I think about it, I find it so hard not to get angry. Take all those upper city snobs with their colorful garments and exotic perfumes. They could put all that money to such good use if only they wanted to, but no, they don't, because they just don't give a damn about the poor. Sometimes I imagine going down there, grabbing one of them by the collar and dragging them down into the Undercity. And there I'd force them to see, just for once. But even that probably wouldn't help. I guess we only care about the things that directly affect us. Who fights against poverty if he's never suffered from it?
A fair point, unfortunately.
Yes. And once again, you've had to listen to another deluge of my whining. I guess I'm just not a person for pleasantries. Sorry.
It's fine, just try not to agonize over these things all the time. It's unhealthy.
I know. Anyway, I need to make some preparations now. Master Bartar requested my support with something, and I shouldn't keep him waiting any longer.
See you. Archmagister?
Ah, if it isn't the prophetess. What's wrong? You look troubled.
Lishari, she's dead. Someone murdered her. Did you hear about that?
I know. Shah Rim has already told me. I hardly knew her, but it's horrible. Different ideologies or not, she was a fine young mage, and her knowledge of the Pyreans was impressive. We need to find the ones who did this, and fast. But you probably already know that. Thank Malphus we just had a breakthrough with the beacon.
Yes, Yuslan told me about that. Does that mean we now know what's missing?
At least as far as the sockets go, yes. In the old tablets you found in Old Dothugrad, there's talk of black embers, which are supposed to be some kind of energy supply for the machine.
Black embers? Any clues to what those could be?
This is what we've been asking ourselves over the past few weeks, and then it fell like pelt from our eyes. The Pyreans were talking about the Black Pearls. Old jewels, sometimes known as Blackstones. They appeared for the first time in the Golden Era, and every self-important noble literally fought to get one in his possession. Apparently they originated from Stormwind, the old city in the heart of Octwind. They changed owners for decades, sometimes by violence, sometimes by gold. The whole thing only stopped when the owners took note of an undesirable side effect, if you like.
Well, what's a legendary jewel without a catch?
Everything has a catch, and sometimes this catch is even upside down. But the stones weren't somehow enchanted, if that's what you're thinking. At least not by any known magical means. Nevertheless, all of their owners eventually shared the same fate. Countess Katua from Nerim, for example, whose castle burnt down to its foundations. According to a survivor of this tragedy, she was to blame for that. He claimed that he saw her the night it happened, laughing hysterically and dancing in the dining room and summoning waves of fire all around her. She was not previously known to have any magical talent in her.
So these jewels somehow gave their owners magical powers?
Correct. Plus, all of them eventually showed similar symptoms of delusion, like those possessed by the Red Madness do. A peculiar coincidence, if you ask me.
That's one way to put it. What happened once word got out to the public that the stones were cursed?
Not quite.
Those who owned a pearl tried to get rid of it, or lock it up somewhere safe, and eventually they fell into oblivion. Tell her your theory, Archmagister.
Yes, of course. We believe that the stones carry energy, pure, uncontrolled magic, and that the High Ones use them for their own purposes.
You mean the High Ones use these pearls to deliberately drive people into madness?
Correct. The pearls' magic make their owners powerful, but the High Ones befoul them, so to speak. Like a poisoned potion. I know it sounds odd, but the parallels are too striking to ignore. The red shimmer in the victim's eyes, the slow descent into madness, and ultimately this irrational, destructive act of violence.
But all of this happened centuries ago, didn't it? I thought the High Ones only appeared just before the cleansing.
That's what we thought too, but it seems we were wrong. Maybe the High Ones never leave our planes at all, even after the cleansing. Maybe they are even part of this world, just like the tides or the elements. And the death of the gods is only what really sets them rolling, so to speak.
I see, and you think that the magic of these black stones could give the beacon the energy it needs?
That's what we think, yes. Nothing else in this world possesses that much raw power.
Which is why you will find them for us.
But if the High Ones poisoned these stones, isn't it dangerous to bring them here?
No, because we know what we are dealing with, unlike those who fell victim to the stones. Imagine them as a powerful, magical sword. A fool won't know how to wield it and will eventually cut himself with it. A seasoned warrior, however, can use its power for his purposes. Which doesn't mean, however, that we will be careless with them. What we need is their energy, and once we have transferred that to the beacon, their shells will be useless to the High Ones.
And how exactly are we supposed to find them? Didn't you say that they are scattered all over Vin?
That's right, but we don't need all of them. The beacon has 3 sockets, and that is how many of the stones we will acquire. Archmagister.
I studied the history of the pearls as a young arcanist, and I think that my notes might give you some hints as to where you should start looking. Give me until tomorrow. By then I will have prepared the relevant excerpts.
All right. Anything else I should know?
Just come to me whenever you have questions.
And hurry. I take it you have already noticed this, but Nerimi's troops are roaming our land and building outposts, and the Red Madness is also getting worse as we speak. Now go, Prophet. The sooner we find these stones, the better.
What? Who are you?
The Order sent me. I need your help with something.
Oh, really? And what could someone working for the Order bring down to a place like this and risk spoiling his fine garments?
I'm here because I'm looking for a black stone, which is said to be associated with your league. Do you know anything about it?
A black stone? No idea what you're talking about. Now, is there something else? If not, leave. Time is sparse these days.
Thank the sun. There you are. I've been looking for you.
Kalia? What are you doing here?
I followed you. It's about your mission. I know that the Grandmaster ordered you to find the black stones, and I believe I know where to find the one you were looking for down here.
You do? Where?
Far away from here, and I can show you where. The only thing I ask of you is that no one must know about my part in this. Promise me that, and I'll tell you what I know.
I promise.
Thanks. Believe me, I don't like this any more than you do. I remember coming here as a child. The apothecary gave me something to eat before setting me on the streets again. All that, it seems so distant.
Move
now.
along.
It's easy to forget about the other side of the coin once you haven't seen it for a while.
Work, work, work.
All right, this is better. Have you ever heard the name Dal-Galar?
Dal-Galar, yes, I think someone told me about him once. The healer of the poor.
Healer of the poor. Yes, that's what some people called him. It doesn't do him justice, though. Dal-Galar helped everyone regardless of his wealth. The only difference was that he had the rich people pay for their treatment. Do you also remember why he left Ark?
Vaguely. Didn't he have a quarrel with the League of the Apothecary? Because of his methods?
Yes. For him, the end justified the means. For example, it is said that he once healed a crippled soldier by replacing his lost leg. The League considered such practices pathless, but Dal-Galar refused to give in, and that is how they came to blows. Finally, Dal-Galar left Ark and moved into a remote old castle in the Frostcliff Mountains.
He tried to help people. That's what should matter.
True, but people fear what they don't know. It has always been like that. I guess you know the rest of the story. He became more and more reclusive until one day he locked the gates and was never heard from again. The apothecaries say that it was his eccentricity which was to blame, but I think there is more to it than that.
Let me guess, you think the Blackstone had a role in all this?
I know it did. I recently read the notes of one of the few apprentices he permitted to come with him. And this is where it gets interesting. Dal-Galar researched something he only referred to as the Angel. No one but him was allowed to take part in its creation, and he hired dozens of mercenaries to get him the resources he needed for his experiments. Books, relics, rare herbs, things like that. And one of those relics was a small dark stone, shining like the skin of an eel.
The Black Stone. And you think it is responsible for whatever really happened in this castle?
Yes. What do you think, Saira? That does sound like a lead, doesn't it?
A good one, actually. But why all the secrecy?
I was waiting for that question. All right then, I might as well come clean. I am interested in all this because there is a rumor as to what the Angel was supposed to be.
What?
A talisman. One that allows its bearer to heal any disease in the world, even flesh maggots, the yellow fever, or the Black Death. All of them. And I want to find this angel, Saira.
Why?
Isn't it obvious? Because I want to be healed.
You're talking about this creature inside you, the demon.
Yes. If there's even just a sliver of a chance that this device, whatever it is, can help me, I have to take it. And that is also why the Order must not know about any of this. They would confiscate the artifact before I could use it for myself. And what am I supposed to tell them if they ask me why I need it? I can't allow anyone to learn the truth about me, not until I've dealt with it. Now enough about my motivations, Saira. Let us plan how we are going to proceed.
You're right. How do we get to this castle? It's up north, right?
Yes. I found us a map that should point the way from the Frostcliff Tavern. Go prepare yourself. I will meet you there. And thank you for helping me. I know I might not show it that much, but I appreciate your, friendship. I really do.
It's all right, Kalia. I'll meet you at the tavern.
Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat. Snip, 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 cut through the throat. The head rolls off, the soul's afloat.